Hi, my name is Paul Friedman. I'm the founder of the Marriage Foundation, and the topic here is what to do if I can't stand my husband. And let me tell you that I met a lot of women who can't stand their husband because I used to be a divorce mediator many years ago, and a couple that I was working with asked me to help them with their marriage rather than help them get a divorce. So I started to look into marriage to understand it so I could help them. I wanted to. They were a nice young couple. They were very sincere. And I discovered that nobody really knows much about marriage. And so I made it my business to discover. It took a while because the information really isn't out there. So hopefully you're a subscriber and you're already learning so much about marriage. If not, subscribe now. So I'm going to add a word to this. What to do if I can't stand my husband anymore? Because it wasn't always like this, right? You loved your husband. That's why you married him. You guys are soulmates. And you recognized it in the beginning. Let's get real here. In the beginning, you felt so uplifted just to be with your husband-to-be, just to be with the boy you just met or the man you just met. He inspired you. You respected him. More importantly, and most importantly, you fell in love with him. Right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have married him. Now, in today's world, they call that first meeting infatuation. And I don't think that's an appropriate word. I think it's more like you found your soulmate. And so you're excited because you could pick up where you left off. And this video is not on soulmates, so I won't get into that. But what I'm trying to point out in that statement is that your relationship was already deep with him. And what has happened since then? What has happened? Well, I could tell you what happened because when I was a divorce mediator, I saw it all the time. And then when I started putting things together, I realized that there's 3 killers of marriage. In your case, let's call it a killer of your connection with him. And that killer is summed up in the word over-familiarity. Over-familiar. So when you're over-familiar with somebody, as opposed to being with someone with whom you're just beginning your relationship, it means you start taking them for granted. You don't polish your words. You're not careful about your behavior. You're certainly not trying to win him over, nor is he trying to win you over. This is not one-sided. But because you're the one coming to me, I'm going to only give you your side. Okay? Let's not worry about him. So you used to compliment him all the time. You used to praise him. Used to say funny little things, used to laugh at all of his jokes, used to smile when you saw him. Maybe you would paint little things on his memos or whatever, or nice text, but you were really, really careful to show him how much you cared for him. When was the last time you did that? And you can easily say now, well, it's because he blah, 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 blah. But wait a minute, what really changed? It's on both of your sides, but let's just look at your side because you're going, what should I do? I can't stand my husband. Shall I say it? Should I get a divorce? Okay, new story. After I wrote my first book, because I worked with people for many years, and then what happened was I was looking for a place to put my office, and I stumbled across a campus, a college campus in San Diego. I noticed a sign for Second Center, and I was curious, and I stopped in there, and I saw that it was a support group for women getting a divorce. So I waited until they finished, And I spoke to the person in charge, and I told him what I did. And he said, you know, what do you have? Maybe these women here, because they got about 80 women every weekend. And not every weekend, I think it was once a month at that time. Second Saturday, that's right, it was the second Saturday of the month. And he said, maybe you could speak to them. So I brought some of my books, Breaking the Cycle, and I spoke. And it was surprising how many women really didn't want a divorce. Now that's understandable, and you don't know it yet. But if you end up getting a divorce, you're going to find out the hard way. It is so dramatic in the negative that it's even hard to put into words. And a lot of people try to cover it up now because a lot of people don't know how to save marriages. We literally have many psychologists who are taking our course and learning our material, following us, and hopefully they'll become TMF counselors. I'm starting a program to train them. And what I discovered was they didn't know what to do. They just didn't know what to do. But the trauma of divorce, oh my God, if at any way you can avoid it. I mean, just a couple of things. One, it's like the number one thing that you sought for all your life, you found your soulmate, and you fail. How's that going to affect your psychology? Your kids, and I know that they're saying, oh, your kids won't be harmed, but that's nonsense. Your kids are totally harmed, and all the statistics prove it. I mean, higher incidence of early sex, shoplifting, alcohol, drugs. They don't do as well in school. I mean, there's so many negatives, but so many negatives for you personally, so many negatives for your husband on so many levels. So you don't want to go there. And what I shared with these ladies was, you think you have tried everything because you've gone to a therapist, but you can't therapize your way into a better marriage. There's two components. One, well, I'm going to call it three. One is you have to understand marriage. You got to get an education, and not what you read in magazines and stuff. What we have here, which is, I'm really hoping why you're a subscriber, what you learn here about marriage. Number two, what you learn about yourself. And number three, learning how to, and this will surprise you, learning how to master your mind. And I'm not going to get into the whole reason for that now, but you cannot even find true happiness until you're able to master your mind. You're literally at odds with your mind. You, the soul, are at odds with your mind. When I say you, the soul, it's not a religious thing, but you're a soul. You're not a body. You're not a mind. You're a soul. You have a body. Now, for people who are, okay, you're a consciousness. You're a state of consciousness. But you still have a body and you have a mind. And you have to master them, or you can't find it. So what to do if I can't stand my husband? Well, put the brakes on. Learn about marriage. Put aside your disdain at the moment. Learn about marriage. Start looking at your marriage and go, what can I do? Without expectations of your husband, because that'll undermine things much more than they are. So put that aside. Just say, what can I do? How do I recultivate that love that I had for him? And the little secret here is, it's not you who can't stand your husband. It's your mind putting up all these blocks and filters. And that's the truth of the matter. So my name is Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation. Hopefully I've given you something to think about. Obviously, this is not going to get settled in one video. You have a little bit of a journey ahead of you. It's true. So thank you for visiting. Leave a like if you appreciate this. If not, leave a comment. God bless you. You could also leave a comment if you liked it. God bless you and thank you and take care. And I do wish that you find your way back to what I consider reality, which is a marriage filled with love and joy. And that's it. Thank you. Take care.